And we are back again with another episode of This Time Around. I am Andrew.
And I'm Anthony.
No, I'm Hunter.
And we got a special guest on the podcast today. It's going to be our first guest ever. He is a Navy veteran, retiree of 23 years.
All right, that's what's up. Thank you for your service first and foremost.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Excited to have him here. We got some questions for him, man. You know, things that we've always kind of wanted to know, and things that hopefully he'll touch on and talk about and feel comfortable talking about, and maybe, you know, give y'all kind of some insight on, you know, the background of the Navy and some of the benefits, some of the drawbacks, you know, touch on a little bit of it all.
Yeah, man. For anybody that's thinking about joining, I know a lot of people have questions. A lot of people are scared to answer or scared to ask, you know. I don't know, man. Let's get right into it.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
So I think you come up with the first question earlier that we were going to kick off with.
Oh, yeah. You know, John, you retired out of the Navy, correct?
Correct.
What would you say the biggest difference from what you can see in joining the military 30 years ago and then signing up today?
Well, it's more than just one thing.
Okay.
Education's one. That's a big difference. The jobs, of course, technology has changed. So, you know, all the new developments that are going out in the communities, you normally see that inside the military first, a few years out. So, to me, the biggest difference is these young folks getting used to be away from the families and getting used to someone telling them where to be at in certain times and stuff. So, other than that, it shouldn't be much of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, because from the outside looking in, it's almost like 30 years ago, things were a lot different. The cell phones, the technology, you know, being able to FaceTime, all that stuff wasn't around, you know, whenever you were back then. You know, it was probably just pretty much a phone call or a letter, you know. I mean, so.
A beeper.
A beeper, yeah. I mean, it's got to be a different time back then, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, the kids nowadays with their, you know, the gaming systems and tablets and the cell phones and all the different apps and things that they do on a regular basis, you don't lose it when you're in the military, per se, because you have a job. It's not like these kids are going to work doing those things at work. So when you're at work, you're not doing it. So when you get off work, what your normal hobbies and stuff are, that doesn't change.
Yeah.
It's just that you're not going to go out in the middle of the ocean, or you're not going to be in the middle of a conflict or something and pick up your phone and ask your mom how she's doing and what's for dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
And those things are going out the window.
Yeah.
So.
That's got to be an adjustment too, though. You know?
And I bet it's really hard. Like you said, if you're on a deployment or on a cruise, or, you know, I don't know, I guess y'all used to do what, like 6-month cruises or something?
It depends.
Anything like that, man. You know, if you're married, you know, that puts a strain on your marriage. You know, you don't get to talk to your kids all the time. It's got to be tough, man.
Yeah. I was going to say that's not any different from 50, 60 years ago before I joined till 50, 60 years after I retire. Family's family. So, I mean, it's really difficult for anyone to just get up and go and not see them for a week, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year. So that, I can't tell you you're going to get used to it. You just have to try to adapt to it and kind of put what's in perspective.
And that's me coming from a really close-knit family, and I know our co-hosts, everybody here is, you know, really close-knit. For me, when I think about it, you know, the big sacrifices y'all do, that's the first thing that comes to mind is time away from your family, time away from your kids. You know, that's something that, you know, in my opinion, you know, I've never joined or served, but that to me would probably be one of the hardest things, I would think.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you. But I always tell people from my recruiting background, before you even thought about joining the military, you made a conscious decision to go into a recruiting office and think about the military and pursue the opportunity of that career.
Yeah.
So you've already made that decision. So people coming into it with a family, I'm pretty sure they've discussed those things prior to coming in. Now, the younger folks, you know, these 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they got their girlfriend down the street, you know, they're not thinking about that until after the fact. So that's like I said, it's just an adjustment. So I always tell the young folks up front, hey, depending on what you do inside the service and what your MOS is going to be or your rating or whatever each branch of service calls it, think about these things. Why are you here? What is your purpose of coming here? What are your goals? What are your objectives? And then keep those in mind before you start trash talking or putting all the negatives in behind it. Just put things in perspective.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, that's a good point to look at. And as a recruiter, you got to respect a man who's going to be honest with you on the front end and say you need to think about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, I've always heard you got good recruiters and you got bad recruiters. Some recruiters are full of shit. Full of shit. They tell you what they want to tell you, so they can. I don't know if recruiters have a quota. I'm not really sure on that, but you would know.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as how many people they need signed up for the year or whatever, but I've heard good stories and bad stories, man. But a lot of people come from nothing. A lot of people come from trash families.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. I mean, the military is a way out.
It is.
So.
And I know some people who were in the military. Went in, served, and come out, and very successful people, had a lot of doors open for them that probably otherwise wouldn't have been open.
So what drawed you to the Navy? Did you have your mind set on that from the beginning, or did you go to Air Force or
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, man. Why the Navy versus,
That's kind of a funny story. After I tried the college route first, and things didn't go the way I planned, I tried the workforce community, and my brother actually thought about joining the service first. He went to apply, and he got disqualified because of his vision. So he was kind of bummed out about it. And I was working between a nursing home as a janitor and delivering pizzas at night just to make a living, because I was living on my own at 18. And sat down, and a couple of my buddies and me were sitting down drinking and doing things we weren't supposed to do. And something came over my head, and I was like, I think I'm going to join the military. And the truth of the matter was, I went to the Air Force office, and the recruiter wasn't there. So when I went to the office, no one was there. As I was leaving, the Navy recruiter happened to be coming by. So I guess he caught me on the good days. He said, why don't you come in and find out what we're about? And I was like, all right. So I sat down and talked to him, and he, like Drew was saying, they tell you what you want to hear, so they kind of hype you up a little bit. And when you're young and you're first hearing those things, you kind of get excited. So that's what happened to me, and I ended up going to take the test. I passed the test and took the physical, and then when I was sitting down for jobs, no one really sat me down and tried to explain to me from the recruiter side of the house anyway, how these jobs work and what's best for my, my goals and aspirations in life. So I ended up picking a job that I shouldn't have picked. And that was on me. That wasn't on a recruiter. So I picked this job, and I'm cussing up and down. I hate it. I want to get out. You got to remember, before the nursing home and delivering pizzas, I was a center manager for Lead Miles Transmission. I was making $1,500 a week, and then even after I left that, and I was working at the nursing home as a janitor and delivering pizza, I was still making close to a G a week.
Yeah.
Then I joined the service, picked a program called the Apprenticeship Training Program, because I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I should have never picked it. They offered me some other jobs, but I didn't know nothing about it. So I picked that job, and here I am making anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a week to $212 every 2 weeks.
Ooh.
And Johnny was not a happy man.
Well, how was the benefits back then compared to what they are now? Are the same, or?
Yeah, no, they're a little different now, and the big difference is retirement. You can't retire, do your 20 and get your pension, draw your pension for the rest of your life. They don't have that anymore. They went to a 401 plan.
Okay.
I was one of those gentlemen that tried to fight that plan, when I was stationed in Millington, one of the training house and stuff. So, when Commander-in-Chief says one thing, you can talk about it, but at the end of the day, pen to paper, and it is what it is. So, but that's the biggest difference is that. But as far as education and the training and certifications and 30 days paid vacation and accumulating all that stuff, all that's the same.
Heck yeah, I was just thinking, man, when he said, he was making $212 a week.
Yeah.
There's a comedian. I'm sure
2
y'all have
weeks.
heard of him. Every 2 weeks, yeah.
First and the 15th.
There's a comedian out, it's Gary Owen. He's
Yeah.
like the white guy.
Yeah.
He's always on BET, but he joined the Navy back in the day. And there's a joke. You can look at Stand Up. There's a joke. He said he come from the trailer park. He joined the Navy, and I think he had a similar story, man, where he went in to talk. He said every recruiter come to his trailer, trying to get him to join, and he said the Marine recruiter come. He said, man, they had the sharpest uniforms. He said, I want to join the Marines. And he said, the Marine recruiter told me, he said, we're the first ones, on the ground, boots to the ground. He said, we're the few of the proud. We're the first ones there. He said, I don't mind being second or third. I don't want to be the first. So that was funny. But I think he said he went with the Navy, and he said he got his first check ever, man. He come from the trailer park. I think he said his check was $200-something. Like he said every 2 weeks. He said he called his mom. He said, "You ain't got to work no more." he said my check was $200. He said if I'd have had Instagram back then, he said I'd have been balling. He said I'd have been flossing on everybody. But yeah, man, that's crazy. I know there's a lot of benefits to it. That offsets the money.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Even now, man. But I've got a couple questions, man. Out of your 23 years, what would you say is the best place you were stationed at I don't know all where you were stationed, but
Whoa.
I mean, that could be like places he's like ported at, everything, or you just saying mainly stationed?
man, I'd say stationed as
Okay.
far as base wise.
Okay.
I would have to say Los Angeles when I was stationed up in San Luis Obispo. Going up and down Pacific Coast Highway, looking at the ocean on the side of the highway there. I would say that was the nicest because, everything out there is beaches. You can't go wrong. You walk out your door, go a few blocks, and there's a beach there. You're having a bad day, put your toes in the sand, have a beer. So I would say that's the most scenic and most calming. But the most hectic will be my hometown, New York, when I was stationed there twice.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bobbing and weaving over there.
Man, I bet. I'm sure you still have a bunch of friends or stuff that people that retired, or maybe people that are still in. But I guess from a Navy point of view, what do you think is their worst location to be based out of? Maybe the place that nobody wants, or where they got stuck with, and
that's hard to say because even in 23 years, I haven't been at every base. So I can't really speak of it. I might talk about. I don't know, Vieques in Puerto Rico or something, doing bombings and stuff out there. To me, that's probably the worst place. But then some people might have loved it over there. That's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah. And it probably varies a lot from person to person. Somebody might hate the beach and they might like the mountains.
Absolutely.
And,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
as far as places that you have laid eyes on while in the Navy, what was the most awe-inspiring when you saw it? You were like, wow. I never thought, at 18 and working as a janitor, I'd see something like this. Hawaii. Yeah, I've heard Hawaii's gorgeous. I've never been.
Yeah, going down there and seeing Pearl Harbor, and looking at the history behind it. That was eye-opening.
Yeah.
And the people out there, they're great. If you like to drink and barbecue and live the beach life, and those people down there got it going on.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful place to see and be part of.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I hope to see it one day too.
well, let's talk boot camp. I know. I personally, know a lot of people that I guess their biggest worry was boot camp, man. Not knowing if they could, make it through, or maybe they were nervous. Maybe that's one reason why they didn't join. They were nervous about it, or I've heard stories. Even people going to MEPS, or and I think where they make you waddle like a duck, or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you, I know somebody.
Bend over, spread your butt cheeks, like.
I know personally somebody who was in the Marines, and the first day, in there, I think they wanted them to get close, be used to being around your people there. So they threw them all in one single shower head and gave them 30 seconds and said, take a shower. And he said it was about 35 of them. So you've got 30, 35 guys. They've got a bar of soap and one water head.
And they probably got a train going right up under the water.
And
man.
he said, you get used to, and I think that's what their goal is.
See,
it's not about being around a bunch of naked guys at that point or being around a bunch of naked people. It's,
See, that's the old way.
Yeah.
It's not like that because of personal hygiene reasons now
Yeah.
and all that other stuff. But to answer Drew's question about between MEPS and boot camp, you got to remember, like yourselves that never served or anything, the only thing you really know about boot camp is maybe something you might have seen on a movie or television or something. So, one of those things like Full Metal Jacket or something,
Yeah.
or, the guy goes in there, blows his brains out in the bathroom and stuff like that, emulating what the Marine boot camp is like. And it's nothing like that at all. I always tell people, you have to do your research on each service, and each service is going to develop you in basic training to start getting you going towards your next schooling and send you there with a mentality. So, and I'm Navy, I love Navy, but Navy boot camp is kind of a joke. Even when I went there, I'm not going to sit there and lie and say, I went down there and came out like Arnold Schwarzenegger and, we did a bazillion push-ups and all this other stuff. It was actually the opposite. It was more of, you have to pass tests. I'm talking about school tests to graduate. You do a little bit of what we call PT, physical training, just to keep you in shape, and you become some fat fuck out there in the corner somewhere, But, we'll keep you in shape, but your main focus is on learning Navy history, what we're about, where we're heading, where we came from, and where we're heading, what your focus is in after basic training to get you ready for your school and how important that's going to be, because once you finish that school, it's what you're going to do inside the service. And, if you, for instance, you got a guy that's going to be a firefighter, I really don't care if this guy can bench press 550 freaking pounds. Yeah, I want to know that he understands the techniques and what it takes to go in there to fight the fire, and being around a teammate and what their responsibilities are to get people in and out of a burning building. Well, it's the same thing with the Navy. I mean, that's what we do. Air Force, you think we're buddy cups, they're even worse than we are.
Yeah.
But when you're thinking about infantry, now you got to remember, you got Marines and Army, and they have divisions, MOSs, that deal with infantry. So you're going to have some type of physical presence about you to be able to do some of those tasks that they ask them to do. You don't have to be a genius to carry a freaking bag with 75 pounds of, ammunition and a gun and boots and canteen and all this other nonsense that you need in the bag. You just got to go do it. So I need you to be in shape so you don't pass out on the street somewhere when I need that bag brought to me.
Yeah.
So, you got to, that's why I always say people, it depends on what you want to do, what you want to be, what your job is going to be. Think about it, you have a guy who's a doctor. Do you really care that this guy just jogged 15 freaking miles and he put 2 people on his back and he was able to climb 50 freaking stories and all that? No, you care that guy can take care of me and make sure I don't get freaking sick and die.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between all the basic trainings in a nutshell.
Yeah. Makes sense from that side of it.
Yeah. Was there I don't know if you remember how many people actually, so I guess from your perspective, on your memory, from the time that you shipped out, so did you go to MEPS and then ship immediately out?
No, when I went to MEPS, I did my test and I did my physical, picked my job, and I finished my test and physical in the month of October, but I didn't ship out to January 9th of '89. So I had a couple of months because I wanted to be around for the holidays.
Right.
So I requested that, and I made sure I picked a job in that time frame to go to boot camp so I could be around for the holidays.
So what do you remember from the time that you shipped out when you first arrived? I mean, what were you feeling, if you can remember back then, man? When you arrived.
Oh yeah, I remember everything.
Were you nervous or?
Yeah, no, I was a little nervous because I was excited to get there, but I went to Chicago in January. I froze my balls off. That's the only thing I remember. Was getting all, and I was that idiot. Went over to the barbershop, got a fresh fade, got my hair cut, got all groomed up, Had some nice clothing on. Didn't bring a big ass jacket with me because it wasn't that cold in New York at the time when I left. It was still like 50 something degrees, 48 degrees. We land down in Chicago, it's freaking 8 degrees.
Oh, man.
We get there, I'm walking around with just a long sleeve shirt, freezing my balls off, and it was cold, it was snowing. I remember when we got there, you do your little check-in at the gate, and then they put you in this mini barracks area, and they put you in there and they say, okay, in the morning we're going to wake you up. So, we recommend you shower and stuff now. So that's what we did. And of course, a few of us were like, let me get my push-ups on so I can look diesel the next morning and all this other nonsense. Then they got up and woke us up at freaking 2:30 in the morning. And the first thing we did was go see the doc, So, all that drama that night before was just to go and get your physical, completed and fill out your will and your last will and testament and, get your shots. And the whole first week was about that. And then you got split up into your little companies or your divisions. And then it goes on from there.
And, man, I don't know if it's still the same today, but how long was boot camp as far as time-wise back then?
God, I feel like an idiot. I want to say our basic training is a total of 8 weeks.
Gotcha.
8 to 9 weeks if you count the first week, and then you have, I want to say it's about 8 weeks, 9 weeks.
I got you. So if you remember, I guess, what do you think the washout rate is? I mean, as far as like people that started that didn't make it, or was there a lot of people that didn't make it, or? Back
when I joined, it started dwindling down. There was a history of, the loss percentage. They always had a goal of, you want to lose less than 10% of your people. It got to that point where it got real political. There were some people that should never made it through basic training, So, but there was a number there where, the military needed X amount of people, especially with people that had really important jobs, and they didn't want to lose them, and they did everything in their power. Now, you'll get set back a week or two, but they tried everything in their power to make sure you graduated basic training. So from that point to now, it's still the same. I mean, I remember as a recruiter, one of the things we had to do was get updated on boot camp. So they send a bunch of the recruiters from my district out there to get updated on the new processing of how they process new recruits and what they're going to go through. And I almost got kicked out of the base because I literally got pissed off. They started this thing, was called a stress check card or something. It was called a stress check. And I remember, law was you got up in the morning, you got dressed, you lined up at a certain time, you marched your butt to go get your breakfast, go down to chow. And when you're doing that, you can do your little cadence over there if you wanted to, but when you got a freaking line, you shut the hell up and you just stand there. One at a time, people were going in. You get in there, eat your 5 freaking minutes and get the hell out and stand back online, wait for your company to form. Well, we were out there watching that process, and these guys were talking, and I was kind of just looking. I was like, wow, they allow that now? I was like, no, maybe these are the guys that they're going to make an example out of. I'm like, yo, now we're going to see some fireworks pop off. And they were going at it, and no one said anything. And I was like, let me go tell this guy, calm down before you get in trouble. So I went over to the guy, and I told him, I said, hey, listen, word to the wise. I don't think you should be BSing with your friend over here. You're probably in your first or second week, and, he was like, nah, man, I've been here 12 days now, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, listen, you better calm down before someone sees you, because if they see you, you don't want to get your butt kicked out here and, make you do push-ups and embarrass you and stuff like that. He goes, man, they ain't going to do that to me. I said, listen, man, I'm telling you, calm down. When I raised my voice one time, he pulled this little card out from underneath his shirt. And when he pulled the card out, I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, I don't want your phone number. He was like, nah, man, you know what this is? I'm like, listen, what is your business card? He said, no, it's called a stress check. What? So when they feel stressed out, they're taught to pull this card out so you can calm them down a little bit. And then they have this little private powwow section and stuff. And I went off. I said, man, I'll take that card and shove it up your ass, man. Get that damn thing out my freaking face. And then, hey, Chief, you can't talk to him like that. I said, man, bullshit. I'm a chief of the United States. They don't tell me who the fuck I could talk to like that. That guy got problems. And they said, "Oh, we got to talk to you." They drove me off the base, and some master chief came and talked to me. He was like, "Well, this is one of the things we wanted to show you." But I said, "Well, master chief, with all due respect, you're grooming a bunch of pussies. You gotta. They can't pull out a stress chit if you under fire or the boat's flooding. They're gonna pull out a stress chit.
Yeah,
I need
real.
that. I need that guy to go down there and turn that valve so I don't die. You know."
So that's where personal space started.
Man, real life situation. That's gonna
You
get somebody.
can't
That's
have
gonna
that,
get somebody
man.
hurt, man.
You can't. You got to have people that can have, they thrive under pressure.
Mm-hmm. Not these young folks.
So I understand that you actually used to do a little work on a submarine. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was a mechanical engineer. We call them machinist mates on subs. I don't like to toot my own horn, but that's probably the best damn rate in the Navy, if you ask me. We own 90% of that ship. That ship don't do nothing without us. Not saying that everyone collectively is not important, but it's a good feeling knowing that that boat ain't going nowhere without one of us on them. We covered a lot of systems on those boats.
I think I'd be a little nervous, man, being on a submarine.
Oh, I'm claustrophobic.
Oh, man, just
I couldn't handle it.
out in the middle of. There's nothing around. I mean,
You
Well,
don't know it, you don't see it.
Well, but my problem is I have a wandering mind. So as long as I was doing my job, but when it come time to go to sleep, I'd start thinking, wonder how deep we are right now. Wonder where we are right now.
I think I could sleep.
I
man.
couldn't, man. Well, I mean, I know I couldn't because my anxiety would be through the roof. I'd be thinking a million miles a second.
They would probably have to maybe drug me or give me a bunch of sleep medicine just to get me on there. Like there's no way. I mean, if I had a job, if I was gonna pick my job, I don't think I'd go in a fucking submarine, man.
Well, I'm glad there's people like John that would
Yeah,
do
hey,
it, man. Because
absolutely.
honestly, just thinking about it right now makes me sweat. Being on a ship's one thing, but when that sucker goes under, and you have no idea where you are, you could literally be, man. You could be up the Mississippi River for all you know.
Well, think about this, man. I mean, if something goes wrong, and you lose your engines, whatever. What do you? I mean, I guess it
That's what you-
floats, right? Or will it
No,
just sink
that's-
to the bottom?
That's what you train for, to prevent that from happening. That's where the schooling comes.
But I mean, everything's a possibility. So when you got on that, you got to know that sometimes things happen, things go wrong, and like John said, that's why you don't need that little card that you can pull out when things are going bad, because you need somebody to get that damn submarine running.
Bro, I'd be fighting somebody for a life jacket. I'm just telling you.
Dude, I don't think that life jacket's going to help
gonna
you.
save you.
No.
Yeah, you crack that hatch, buddy. It ain't going to help.
No, you probably couldn't even. I don't know, man.
Well,
I
let
don't,
we have escape trunks. Don't worry about it.
Let me ask you this: when you're on that submarine, I've heard, you hear in the movies and stuff like that, like the Hunt for Red October and all that. How many people on that submarine know where they are?
Quite a few.
So there is more than just one or two people who know
Oh, yeah,
exactly
that's-
where they
that's
are. Okay.
quite- People that know what the hell they're doing, yeah,
Okay.
they know what it is. Because you got to remember, you have quartermasters, you have radio men. You have to have a plot of where you're going. So there's people that, if you have either a top secret or a secret clearance, depending on what you're allowed to see. But if you've been on submarines, you get qualified and you make buddies and stuff like that, and you want to know exactly where you're at. Yeah, I mean, you learn certain watches, like one of the things, diving officer of the watch and stuff like that. You're exposed around all that stuff, and they have to plot, and you have to put everything in, go 220, port, and you got to understand what those longitude and latitudes are. So if you can figure that out, you can look at it. Now these kids nowadays with a phone, think about it. They put in those coordinates on their phone. Freaking Google Maps will probably pop it up and tell them exactly where they're at.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of them are not allowed to bring them on there.
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense.
Well,
It
did you
does.
have any oh shit moments while
Oh,
you were
yeah.
on the submarine? Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say any red flags, but
Oh, we
you
almost
heard
got
alarms go off
we
or
almost
something.
got killed out there.
Mm.
There's a position called officer of the deck, and we had a junior officer of the deck at the time who was just getting qualified, and I was the chief of the watch, and then you have the diving officer watch, and you have helmsmen and plainsmen. Well, the guy just got qualified, and it was during the mid-watch, and it was about, I want to say maybe 1:30 in the morning, and we were steering this course for a while, and we came up to what they call periscope depth. And when they came up to periscope depth, they raised the periscope, and they move around the periscope, and they actually can take pictures, with the periscope, and kind of take a picture and kind of give you what we see and what angle the ship is in and the whole 9 yards. Well, the junior officer of the deck was taking a picture and was looking. He goes, mark this coordinates, and he marks his coordinates. He goes, what island is that? And the quartermaster was like, island? There's no islands around us. He goes, I'm looking at it right now. And he goes, well, mark it again. So he goes around. He goes and marks it again. He goes, there's not a freaking island over here. And they discussed it for about 30 seconds. Then the dive, he goes over to the periscope and looks through the periscope. He goes, oh, shit, emergency deep. That's what we call it. And we just push the planes down. And I want to say if we would have waited 3 seconds, we would have got hit. An oil tanker was coming right over above us.
Oh,
Wow.
And he was looking at the lights. You know, you have port and starboard running lights. And he confused it for like the lights you see like at a lighthouse or something out there. And then he was getting confused about it. And we put down, and I want to say the minute we shoved those planes down, 15 seconds later, you can hear their propeller going right over, and it was shaking the sub as we were going down. Needless to say, he was no longer qualified.
Oh, I can only
I could just
imagine.
imagine. I could just imagine.
I mean, if I was going to be in a submarine or something like that, I would not want to be beside a person that wasn't confident in what they're doing, man. I mean, can you?
But the thing about it is when you're on that sub, you really don't have any control over who's on there with you. You know, that's the, you know, I'm sure you have your friends, and you're probably, you know, there's probably that guy. It's like, y'all keep an eye on that guy. You know, that guy right there, you better watch him. Hey, double check him twice.
I mean, think about it. I mean, how many people you know that, or maybe you know now or have seen, they go get the concealed weapons permit. Can you really see that too?
And half of them don't know nothing about it.
They went to the class.
They probably should have never passed their fucking shooting part, man.
Yeah.
You know.
know, so you have people
That's
like
true.
that out there.
That is true.
You know, you
That
can't.
is true.
Well, as far as submarine wise, man, how many people? I mean, I'm sure I don't know if they have different size submarines, but how many people do you are actually on a submarine at the time?
On the style submarine, I worked on Tridents. My first 2 ships were Tridents, USS Alaska and the USS Florida, and that's SSBN. And depending if you're fully manned, you could carry anywhere from upwards from 128 personnel to about 170. Depending on it.
That's crazy. That's a big ass submarine, man.
That
Because
is,
we
man.
went on the submarine in Alabama that they
Yeah,
have.
that's what I was about to bring up. Right there where the USS Alabama is, and it's a
And
small submarine.
I'm
man.
not tall at all.
Yeah.
And I felt cramped in there.
Yeah, no, the ones I served on, my first 2, if you stand it upright, straight up and down, you know, on vertically, it's the same size as the Space Needle in Seattle. Space Needle in Seattle is pretty big.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's
yeah.
a pretty big
and
submarine.
and you got 4 levels inside. So I mean,
That's crazy.
it's bigger than what people think it is.
Wow, that's crazy.
I would definitely be claustrophobic, man. I'm sure your sleeping quarters probably ain't very big. You know,
Yeah.
You got a rack.
man,
That's why I'm thankful for, you know, men like John.
you ain't lying. I couldn't do it, man. Let's see, man. I guess let's touch on maybe advice from a recruiter standpoint. I mean, what would you recommend to people? I mean, as far as if they're on the fence or if they're really not sure, you know, what would you tell somebody?
You know what? I tell any applicant that ever came in to me, I always tell them up front, I'm never going to tell them or steer them someplace that I wouldn't tell my children to do. First off. Second is, you got to remember, every state, every county, every community is different. Some people have, you know, factories and abundance of jobs and stuff, so they can kind of pick and choose what they want to do. And some people are just in, like, rural areas like, you know, Wake Forest, Georgia or something like that, you know, where there's few and far between. But either way, you know, everyone inside has a dream that they want to fulfill, you know, besides being an NBA player, baseball, whatever. But I always tell people, tailor your decisions on, okay, first off, you tell me you want to be a doctor. Well, do you really want to go to college for the next 12 years? You know, can you do that? You're the same kid that's barely getting a 65 in class right now. I mean, let's be realistic about your goals. Not saying you can't get them down the road, but maybe it's not for you right now. So when I listen to that, I tell them, when you decide to go into a career field, whether it's in the military or outside the military, make sure that path that you take has doors available to be opened so you can progress in life and not be stagnant. And one of the great things that I got to learn being in the Navy, and I've proven a lot of people, and no one's proven me wrong to this day, and I leave that door open. I used to take my applicants outside, and I tell them, all right, stare out this window. And I tell them, what do you see out there? You know, where you live at and where you've been around, and look at my window. What do you see out there? And I said, look at all the jobs, look at all the people. Tell me what you see out there. And they'll yell out a few things. I said, we got those too. The same thing. There's nothing that you can do out here in the community that you can't do inside the service. And it's the God's honest truth. You want to be a bartender? Knock yourself out, Charlie. We got a path for you to become a bartender. You want to work in asphalt? You want to be a builder? You want to be a contractor? You want to be a doctor, a lawyer? Whatever you can see out there, we got a way for you to get in, and we have that job. Not just a school to send you to, but you can do that job. And no one's proven me wrong yet.
I firmly believe that there is nothing better you can put on a resume than military experience.
Well, you got to remember, ever since, 9/11 happened, especially, especially that's when, like, people's eyes really started opening up, and it kind of, it pisses me off in a way, but why it takes so long for people to kind of realize the importance of, all our military branches and the people that are doing, and not even just that, but you got to remember, you have contractors that work for the federal government and stuff like that. I mean, there's people that do a lot of important things every day, so people like out here in this community can live the way they live. So, it's you just got to think about it that way.
Crazy, man. A lot of people in the military get looked over, or it's, I don't know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, let me ask you this, man. I know you did 23 years.
Mhm.
Did you always plan on fully retiring, or were you just planning on trying it out?
Nope. I was going to get out.
Because there had to be a time when you were just thinking about it, when you were getting up on your however many years it
You
is.
signed
you
it
when you
first,
sign
maybe?
up,
My first 4.
your first 4. Did it come a time where you were like, I'm about to get out, I'm going to go do what I want to do now?
Well,
Fuck this
told
job.
I told you earlier, I truly tried to get kicked out. I really did, and a lot of it was, I was engaged when I first joined. I don't want to yell her name out, but
Yeah.
I got engaged. I got engaged, and one of the reasons, that was another strong reason for me to join, because I wanted to get her out of where I grew up at, in the middle of the South Bronx. So that was one of the things why I wanted to do it, and things didn't work out. It didn't turn out that way. But prior to doing all that, I applied for NYPD. I got family that are retired NYPD police officers. Well, I took the test, I did everything you had to do, and I didn't hear anything. I was getting pissed off. I was like, I guess I didn't make it. I joined the service, and about 3 days before I shipped out to boot camp, I get my letter saying, congratulations. And I was like, oh shit, what can I do? And no one told me that I ain't had to go. This is volunteer force. I got my job. But I didn't know that, so I thought I committed to it. I signed the contract. So I did my research, and I found out that they'll hold my spot for me until after I completed my 4 years, and then I can come back and start the academy and stuff. And I was like, not a problem. So that was another reason why I was trying to get kicked out. But the one person that helped, it's embarrassing to say, the person that kept me in was my mom and my master chief on my first submarine. Apparently, they developed a relationship over the phone, and she told him about my background back at home and who I had waiting and what was really going on back at home and why I might be acting out on this end. And after they did their research and talking for a few days, the master chief called me into the office and told me to close the door. See him recruit the ears, and I was like, all right. I sat down. He goes, well, you want to tell me about, what your attitude is? So the first thing out of my mouth, I was like, man, it's none of your fucking business. All I want to do is I want to go the fuck home. Why am I in here talking to you? And the minute I finished that sentence, the speaker, there was my mom. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to like that?
Oh, man.
Did I raise you like that? And I almost pissed my pants. I said, oh, shit, my mom's on the phone. My mom told, and I'll never forget his name. His name was Master Chief Rocca, Johnny Rocca. And my mom said, Johnny, you mind stepping out for a minute so I can have a conversation with my son? He said, yes, ma'am. He went out, locked the door. My mom chewed my ass. And she told me, she goes, you fuck this up, don't come home. And I was like, roger that. So I kept my shit together, and I said, I'll finish my 4 years, and, I still got my job waiting. But then I met someone, my first wife, and I kind of changed plans and had kids and stuff. And I said, do I want to really bring them back to New York? Nah, that was one of the reasons why I get the hell out of there. So I ended up just staying in and made a career out of it. Have fun.
It's crazy, man. I know you probably. I don't know how many years did you sign for your when you re-signed for the second time.
Did 6 years on my second one.
So you had after that 6 was up, you were halfway done.
Yes,
through
sir.
Retirement.
Yeah, what the hell am I gonna give that up for? Get a check from Uncle Sam the rest of my freaking life. I ain't giving that up.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already halfway there. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
tough it out.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, well let's see. I see the last question I really got, man, is what benefits would you say come from the Navy or any military branch on the civilian side when you get out? I mean, what can people really look forward to and take advantage of, whether you do 20 years or 4 years?
All right, I don't look at it that way. The way I look at it is this way. I compare it to these young men and ladies out here that say college first. I tell them when they go to college, I say you're going there with an education, and when you get out, what do you get to put in your resume? I got a bachelor's or a master's in this. But most companies are looking for hopefully having that, but someone that brings something to the table. So I always tell people, I said, you can have a job that does the same thing, have your education, your certifications with the experience, and then not only that, the most important part is leadership. Team player, was able to lead and develop other personnel, was in charge of supplies and money that institutionals for supplies and demand. You bring a plethora of other things to put on a resume. Vice, this kid coming from Cal Poly University with masters, and he just paid $450,000 for, and all of a sudden here you are coming up right behind them, and the government just paid for freaking everything behind that. You didn't pay anything, but you got all these other things to put on your resume. And when someone's going side by side, yeah, Cal Poly University, don't get me wrong, it carries a big stamp, but someone that has common sense is going to look at it and say, he started from the bottom, he worked up, he led people, he was in charge of, he did all these other things, plus he has experience.
Yeah, you have real world
Exactly.
experience
So
versus somebody just coming out of college with a degree.
Exactly. So, I mean, that if you ask the question why military, if you're going to do it, those are the benefits in itself right now, especially if you apply for a job out here and you got denied already. Now you know why you were denied. Get your butt inside one of the militaries, pick a military, get some experience in it, and then come back 4 years later and see if that same guy's going to deny you again. I seriously doubt it.
I know a lot of people that did their 4 or 6 years and got out, and they get great jobs
Well,
just because of the experience.
I don't own a business, but if I did and somebody applied and I saw they had served, I mean, that, in my opinion, that shows they're dedicated. That shows that, they've got commitment. I mean, I would think that's a big, deciding factor in getting hired.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Just I tell you guys in the past that you got your idiots out there. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some guys, yeah, they got their experience and training and stuff, but they ain't make it too far. And there's a reason why they ain't make it too far, So, those people that are doing the hiring, they know that by now, why is it that you've been in the service 15 years and you're still a freaking E4 or an E3? Why? Why didn't you move up, and what's going on there? You put some time in, you should be moving up the ranks, and you should be in charge of stuff and kind of sticking and moving at that time. And if your resume will point that out, and anyone that has common sense will see that. So, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that everybody serves in the service. You got a million people serving. I'm not saying, oh, God bless every single one of them. I'm never going to close my door on any of them. Love them all. I love what they're doing. But there's just some people that, I don't know if that's the best choice for my business.
Yeah.
So you got to use a little common sense.
I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, cool, man. Well, I think that's about it.
I have a couple questions just
Yeah.
off now that we've got all the serious stuff out. I've got a couple things I've always wanted to ask John. If he doesn't mind me, kind of diving into this for a second. Did you or did you not ever participate in a volleyball tournament with jean shorts in the Navy?
Oh man, it is
No.
about to
No,
get serious.
okay. Have you ever owned a pair of Ray-Ban aviators?
No.
Okay. What's some other questions I've always wanted to know?
Is this just off the top of the head?
This is just off the top of the head. Just things that I've always wanted to ask him, but I've never, I've always kind of been scared. I mean, have you ever went head-to-head with a Russian MiG?
No.
Okay. Have you ever met Tom Cruise?
No.
Okay. That about wraps up all my questions. Okay. That's all I needed.
I met Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer
That
J.
Did you really?
Yeah, J-Lo. Yeah.
We ain't got
Tell
no
us-
careers
look,
no
you have to
more.
Tell me something about that now. I mean, you can't leave us hanging.
Still got that ass, though.
And she still looks like she's 30 years old, man.
That's the Puerto Rican, man.
Yeah,
You can't do nothing with it.
Yeah, she lived about, I want to say, on the train, a couple of stops from where I grew up at. She lived by Castle Hill, and I lived on Stratford Avenue. So we weren't too far apart. But how I got to really meet her, she actually kicked us off the set one time.
Did she think you were The Rock?
She
Yeah.
she had to thought you were Dwayne Johnson. It's a
No.
striking resemblance.
Dude, we were there. She was doing a filming in Manhattan, and they let us on the site, and we were in uniform. And this guy said, "Oh yeah, come on over here, blah blah blah." And, J-Lo's over there, just be quiet. They're showing us around the set and stuff, and it's out in the street. We're in Harlem, so we go out there, and all of a sudden she came around this trailer or something, and when I saw her, I was like, "Holy crap!" I was like, and like. Television doesn't do that girl justice. I mean, she was just gorgeous, and I was like, "Holy cow!" And I was all excited she was coming this way, and and I'm sitting there, and I'm sucking in my
Gonna shoot a shot.
yeah, I'm sucking in my stomach a little extra hard and punching out the chest, and I was like, well, what's my first words gonna say to this girl? I said, man, I just want her to take me the coffee. I don't want to take her the coffee. I'm just trying to say something in my head to kind of break the ice. And she'd come walking, and before I go up my mouth, she was like, "What the fuck are y'all doing here?" And I was like, "Oh shit!"
Damn.
And she started cussing the dude out for letting us on the set.
Wow, that's fucked up,
And we
man. And
did-
you're in uniform too?
Yeah, we ended up getting kicked off the set.
Wow.
But
That's cold blood.
That is, man. I mean,
Hey, I
especially
was-
to be in uniform too, though.
I
Like
know.
that's.
I had a smile on my face. I got to see her.
Yeah, you did get to see her.
I'm gonna tell you, man. Look, if I would have seen her and I'd have seen she looking at me, first thing I would have said, "Shake that ass, hoe."
I mean, what you got to do? That's Jenny from the
I
block.
mean, you're gonna get kicked out anyway. Apparently, why not?
No, man.
Nah, that's-
shit happens. I mean, she probably was busy or whatever. Didn't want to.
Yeah, man. But to I mean, I can understand if it's some regular person off the street, but for somebody to be in military uniform and say, man, that's
Well, I mean, you got to think
man.
there's probably some people out there. You hear like the stolen valor and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You can go down to Party City and get a Navy outfit or something and just try to sneak onto the set. You don't ever know what she's encountered. So.
Have you actually watched like a lot of the Stolen Valor
Oh yeah.
videos? Like
What's that
online?
guy's name?
Don Shipley.
Don Shipley. Yeah,
Man,
that
like-
dude's cold blooded, dude. He will call you out in the middle of Walgreens, bro.
Some of these people have on fucking 2 different uniforms.
Yeah,
Or like it's
yeah.
just I don't know, man. It's wild.
That shit is crazy, man. Trying to get free drinks and
I
shit
s-
like that.
I seen one older guy that had I don't remember what military uniform he had on, but he was in the airport and he had his hat on. And the guy's like, "Why are you wearing your cover indoors?" He's like, "Oh, my bad." And he pulled it off. And the guy busted him out and he ended up saying, "Oh, it's my son's uniform. I was wearing it to a funeral or something." I don't know, man. Bro, it was so bad. I said, that is so and that's embarrassing for his son if his son's really in the military too, though.
I don't know. Do y'all ever get to where y'all are? Is it just me, or if you're watching a video that's really freaking embarrassing, you almost get embarrassed and it's hard to watch it, and
Oh,
I have
yeah.
to turn the shit off,
Oh, yeah.
like real cringe shit. I can't watch it. My anxiety gets real high. I'm like, shit, I gotta turn this shit off.
And
Fuck that. Ain't that a bitch?
Ain't that a bitch? Best segment that we've ever had on the show, man. That's what everybody talks about.
Oh man, but yeah, man, it was good having John on here, man.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Hey, appreciate your service.
For sure, man, for sure.
I appreciate you gentlemen.
We're lucky to get to know you,
Yeah.
personally every day.
Personally, we see a different side of John.
Oh, yeah.
John's a taller man, probably I'm gonna say north of 6'2", 6'3", probably 6'4", but just a big teddy bear, man. Just a great guy, man. Great guy.
Yeah, I didn't know if you thought we were gonna get on here and embarrass you or act a
man.
fool,
No,
man. Or I didn't know what you thought, but I told you we were gonna.
I
Keep
had to ask you a couple Tom Cruise questions, man, because am I the only one excited about the new Top Gun movie, the Maverick movie? I'm excited. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Excited.
I don't think it's gonna do justice on the old one,
Yeah.
man.
Well,
see.
I mean, you can't compare it to Top Gun. I mean, that's that shit'll take your breath away.
Yeah.
Bump. All right, sorry. That was just
If only we had our freaking laughter button.
Yeah,
that worked, man.
we got a freaking. We ain't even gonna get started on that.
I don't
we ain't
know.
gonna get started on it.
You're lucky it doesn't work because it's we would have come with your neighbor's joke because it's got a gunshot button on it.
Yeah,
Everybody's
it's got
gunshots.
hit
Now,
the deck.
If we could have figured out
The
a way
block
to make
is
this
hot.
work, we're gonna get it figured out, man. But it's got all kinds of different sound bites and stuff, and it's really cool, man.
But I am glad first guest was John. It's
Yeah.
great, man. That's really good. And I think
First of many.
I am honored. I think what you guys are doing here are awesome. I think you guys are gonna be on your way. Y'all got it together over here.
we're trying.
And I
man.
tell people out there, you know what? Get to know these folks, see what they're all about. Man, maybe you can get on here and BS with these fools for a little while. They got a cool little setup over here, and I'm really enjoying the shit out of this. So.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Oh,
It is fun to get out here and do this with with people and getting to know people. And a lot of times, you see the podcast, and I've always thought, and this is one of the things that me and Drew touched on. You see, there's only so much you can relate to when you get a movie star on there. It's almost like you're just tuning in to see, whoever the flavor of the week is. But with us, with what we're doing, I want to see what, real life, everyday people are doing.
Yeah, man, because all the movie stars on YouTube, anybody, they've already been interviewed 1,000 times.
I can't relate to them,
no.
but I can relate to the guy down the street or, the guy driving a truck or the guy that retired. That's what I want to hear. So.
That's the beginnings, guys. That's the beginnings. Sooner or later, when things first start off, you gotta know your audience. You gotta know your people, right? And then pretty soon you're gonna bring people in that you might not necessarily have stuff in common with, but you gotta keep your doors open.
Yeah.
Keep learning.
I mean, hey, you got to figure out what you're made for, because
Yeah, and I feel like our people are blue collar, everyday people, man.
Yeah.
That I've said it before. Everybody has a story to tell, and I think we're here to broadcast it.
get in where you fit in.
That's
You
it.
know, I couldn't cut it as a male exotic dancer, so maybe I'll make it as a podcast host.
I mean,
Yeah, hey.
y'all gonna deal with things.
I've been driving a truck 14 years now, and I'm still trying to fake it till I make it.
Hey, that's me, man. I can't believe they still give me a paycheck on Friday. I can't, it amazes me every day. I walk in the office kind of like I stole something from y'all, motherfuckers.
I'll be honest with y'all. When y'all sent that message back, and I was like, maybe they forgot. They don't want me to go on. I'm nervous about it. I went and got my hair cut, right? Got my fade on. Get my fade, and I'm sitting down, and I'm writing lyrics. I'm thinking they're gonna make me rap when I'm on here.
Oh, so you got some bars.
You got some bars?
No,
You got some
no,
bars? Yo,
no,
DJ, spit that shit.
Hunter,
So
put some
I'm
music on, man.
So I was thinking, all right, these fools are gonna make me go out here and start trying to spit. I'm like, let me get a beer in me, so in case they make me do it.
And I was gonna drink
man.
I was gonna drink a beer with you too, man. Till I forgot we got a kickball game at 9.
Who
like
has a
an
kickball
hour.
game at 9 o'clock at
9
night?
at night,
Man, we
man.
are old as shit.
You ain't lying.
Man, at 9 o'clock, I've been asleep for 30 minutes.
My eyes are already burning.
You ain't lying, man. But no, we wouldn't get on here. We like to have fun and joke, but we ain't gonna try to make anybody feel uncomfortable on here or nothing. So
But we will have you back on, man, to goof off and talk.
Oh
some
yeah,
shit
the next
and
time
have some
though,
fun,
the next
man.
time it's going down. The next
yeah.
time it's gonna be for real.
I'm looking forward to it.
Cool, man.
All right.
Well, awesome. Well, that's it for this week. We should get it uploaded in a couple days, and we will see you next go round.
All right.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Later.